Hey y'all, welcome to the Homestead. You know, with every blessing that comes also comes challenges. And today we had both. We have not had rain in this part of Texas in a month, and it's been so dry. It's been over 100 degrees for like 30 days now, or close to 100 degrees. And the previous month we only had one day of rain. So today a beautiful storm rolled through, dumped a whole bunch of rain, and it was a blessing. But it also took out our chicken coop. Well, luckily, none of the girls were hurt. It actually picked up the coop and threw it over there. I actually turned it back upright. It was laying on its side. So no one was hurt. These two were out, but the electric fence was still working. Even though it was broken and laying over, I actually stood this one back up and put it back in the ground because I got home probably an hour and a half ago. Had to do some things inside first, but made sure they were secure. The dog didn't come over here and jump over the fence. Maybe he touched it. I'm not sure. I wasn't here. And they didn't come out. So that's a good thing. So they're still in here. So luckily also, the coop was not damaged at all. Like the structure itself, it just picked it up and threw it on its side. It wrecked everything inside, but that's no big deal. I can just pull it back. It tore apart that tarp pretty bad, but that's not a big deal. It's just keeping the other Rhode Islands a little bit cool in these hot temperatures. Now the trick is, I've got to get these guys caught, put somewhere so I can take down the fence and drag their coop back in. This time I'll secure it to the ground. Now, this big one over here that I did a video on, that didn't move. No problem, the wind wasn't strong enough. But this new one I bought is honestly pretty flimsy, and I don't like it. The gauge of the metal is thinner, the wire, everything is thinner, and prices went up. So when I was purchasing it, I didn't pay attention to the gauge of the metal because it was similar price to something like this. But quality's gone down for the same price. Anyhow, time to get this back together, but time to catch these chickens first.
And then I'll obviously need to find something else to hold this fence up with.
This is going to be an extreme challenge because the other chickens do not like these two at all. And they're outside of the coop. I'll show you. On the other side, it was tough chasing them over there. They just wanted to go in a completely different direction than I wanted them to go every single time, even though I had soldier fly larvae with me, which is what they love. I'm getting this area cleaned up so I can drag this back in, but I have to completely open up this fencing so I can drag it around and drag it back in. That's going to be a challenge. Hopefully they'll stay over in the other spot. They still have their wings unclipped, so they can get a little flighty. Let me show you what we got going on with them. I'm just trying to get all the debris out of the way, all the blocks and things I used for them to stack up. And actually, I'm gonna grab one of these blocks here to stack up for, you know, roosting bar and to put the water on and all that kind of stuff that's laying over there. I got to get out of the way before I drag them back in. But I even put down some scratch for them with the soldier fly larva, and they're just walking over it. They don't even care. They're just paying attention to the barred rocks, and they can't stand each other. So I don't know. Chickens are nuts, man, I tell you. Chickens are a strange thing, and they have odd behavior, and I'm not sure I will ever figure it out, no matter how many years I've been doing this. Seems like it was easier when I was a kid. Maybe it's because I was a kid and my dad did most of the work, but we had a lot of chickens back then, and I don't remember them acting so odd like this. I think I'm just going to take down this side of the fence and see if I can drag it all the way around that way in this side, because it's a real pain to get this back in the ground. Even though it just rained, it's still hard as a rock because most of that water didn't soak in. It just kind of bounced off the top of the rock-like soil that we have here and ran down into the creek. Knocked their feeder apart pretty good. That's no big deal. That goes back together pretty easily. Broke the nesting box though, and I think I can get it back together. I don't see much of the plastic broken, but that's going to be a challenge. Well, so much for all the feed that was in their thing. All wet now.
Gross, it's soggy.
Nasty.
Looks like cereal. Soggy cereal.
Right? Woo! Oh, there's some good ones in the bottom still.
You're gonna be locked in there.
There we go. I'm not gonna get locked.
Be careful, you.
Alright. I'm gonna have to put some stakes. But there's not even big holes. I'll have to find some thin tent stakes.
The whole story is that thing blew off and the chickens, at least they didn't get out. Maybe they probably eaten one of the plants,
Yeah,
but
that's the whole story, and then putting it all back together again.
that's
But we were
crazy.
blessed with the rain, right?
Yeah, but not blessed with the wind.
So while we were putting the other coop back together, and I need to get the chickens back in there, the 2 Rhode Islands, look who found some new eggs, some brand new eggs from our Easter eggers, which is this one, this bluish green colored one, and
It's
our leghorn. Look at that.
comparison.
Check it out.
This
Yeah.
is like a quail egg or something.
Yeah, it's like a quail egg. It's so tiny, but they're that small when they first start laying. A lot of them do that. Are you excited about the different color eggs?
Yeah, they'll get pink ones and blue ones and
Yeah.
probably purple ones.
Not,
Did you say pink ones?
not just the brown ones from the Barred Rocks and the Rhode Islands, right?
We're gonna have rainbow eggs.
Yeah. Now I'm in a position where I can put them back in there, even though everything still isn't set up inside. I can just put them in there, close the door, and be good with it, and they will be fine, and I can rebuild everything else back around them. So this is Cardamom, and I honestly don't know what to do with her and Nutmeg. Nutmeg was the low one on the totem pole that now likes to try to pick on the other ones. And Cardamom was the one that I nursed back to health. I don't know if I ever showed you that. She had deep, deep peck wounds from the other 2 Rhode Islands. They almost killed her. Those peck wounds were about 3/4 of an inch deep on her back. I used Vetricin to nurse her back to health. That stuff is amazing for healing wounds. You can see she looks very healthy. However, she never went back to laying eggs. And I don't know if it's from the stress. She looks healthy, she eats, she drinks, she does everything a chicken should do except lay eggs. And from those deep, deep, deep wounds on her back, right from that point, I think she laid an egg maybe 3 days later when I was nursing her back to health, and then she just completely stopped. So that one escapes me. I don't know what the problem is with her. If you have any ideas, let me know. The one that got picked on the most, Nutmeg, doesn't lay eggs either. Like I said, I think it's from the extreme stress. They're only 2-year-old birds, so they still should be like peak laying right now, but they're just not completely stopped. Hey, while I am rebuilding this coop for these girls, something super important I have to talk to you about if you live in Texas or another state that does it similarly, about property taxes. If you live in a country property, especially in Texas, I just went and did this earlier today, I went to the appraisal board, and that's how it works here in Texas. I went to the appraisal board about my property taxes and protested. And that's because property taxes here have gotten way out of control because we have a lot of people moving in from out of state, and has driven market values on homes just through the roof. And it's pretty out of control. My taxes have doubled since I've lived here 6 years ago. So I went and protested, and the appraiser was super nice, and she was thankful that I came in because she said not that many people come in. And she looked for ag exemptions for me, and I qualify for one where they lowered the amount of property acreage that you had to have to get that exemption, and that is an apiary exemption for beekeeping. And so I'm going to get bees for next year, and that'll help with next year. And she's going to shrink my property around my house to get me less taxes around the home and increase the number of property acreage around the apiary exemption, so I get the most out of that. And she also lowered the value for me today because I brought pictures of the roof that's ripped off the barn and the still persistent issues of my foundation on this home. So she was very cool about lowering all that. She said, just come in, bring pictures, show us, and we'll take care of it. She had a stack this thick of recalculated property tax forms and a stack that thick of ones that they reject recalculation. So if you're in Texas, go do that. Well, we're pretty much done putting this back together, except I gotta get this nesting box back together, but they don't lay eggs anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. Well, there you go. That was our task for today. You run into stuff like this all the time, as I'm sure you know. If you don't, and you're a beginning homesteader, stuff like this happens. You just gotta keep a smile on your face, because with the blessings of the rain come the tipped over coops. It's no big deal. Now go check out this playlist right here, which is all of our chicken care videos. Have a beautiful, blessed day, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.